Remember when you could turn on the radio and every song felt like it was made just for you? The 1970s gave us a soundtrack that stuck. Some of these tracks became part of our DNA. We sang them at school dances, played them until the cassette tape wore out, and they still pop into our heads decades later. But here's the thing. While some became timeless classics, others kind of slipped through the cracks. So let's take a trip back and explore 15 songs that 70s kids still know by heart, and a few we forgot about. Number 15. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. When this track hit the airwaves in 1975, nobody knew what to make of it. A 6-minute rock opera with no chorus? Radio stations didn't want to touch it. But Queen's record label took a chance, and it changed everything. Freddie Mercury spent weeks perfecting those layered vocal harmonies, recording vocal parts over and over until he got exactly what he heard in his head. The result was something nobody had heard before. The song went through 3 distinct sections: a ballad intro, an operatic middle, and a hard rock conclusion. Each part felt like its own complete piece, yet they flowed together seamlessly. Brian May's guitar solo became one of the most recognizable in rock history, and the operatic section featured Mercury's voice multiplied dozens of times to create a choir effect. When the music video aired on Top of the Pops, it helped establish the music video as an art form years before MTV existed. The simple visual of the band's faces illuminated against a black background became iconic. The track spent 9 weeks at number 1 in the UK and became Queen's signature piece. It introduced a generation to the idea that rock music could be theatrical, complex, and still connect with millions of people. The recording process at Rockfield Studios in Wales was legendary. The band pushed the limits of 24-track recording technology, bouncing tracks repeatedly to layer all those harmonies. Mercury knew exactly what he wanted, even if he couldn't always explain it in technical terms. He'd sing it, and the band would figure out how to make it happen. Even now, you can walk into any karaoke bar and find someone attempting those vocal runs. Number 14. American Pie by Don McLean. Don McLean's 1971 masterpiece clocked in at over 8 minutes, making it one of the longest songs to hit number 1 on the Billboard charts. The song reflected on the changes in American culture, with references woven throughout that sparked endless debates about their meanings. McLean spent years writing it, working through the verses until every word felt right. McLean wrote the track as a tribute to Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper, who died in a 1959 plane crash he referred to as the day the music died. But the song covered much more ground, touching on everything from Bob Dylan to the Rolling Stones, from the Beatles to Janis Joplin. Each verse seemed to contain hidden meanings that fans tried to decode. McLean himself rarely explained the references, preferring to let people make their own interpretations. I started singing, "Bye, bye, Miss American Pie." Radio stations initially resisted playing such a long track, but listeners demanded it. Requests poured in constantly. The song's narrative structure told a story in a way that felt literary, almost like listening to a novel compressed into music. Kids memorized every verse, even if they didn't understand all the references. It became a rite of passage to know all the words, to be able to sing along from start to finish without missing a beat. The recording took place at the record plant in New York, and the stripped-down arrangement let McLean's voice and the story take center stage. There was something about the way he delivered those lines that felt personal, like he was sharing something important that needed to be heard. The song sold over 1.2 million copies in 1972 alone. Number 13. Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees transformed themselves completely for the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack in 1977. Barry Gibb's falsetto became the defining sound of disco, and this track's opening bass line is still instantly recognizable. The song spent 4 weeks at #1 and helped make disco mainstream. Producer Robert Stigwood approached the brothers about creating music for a film about the Brooklyn disco scene, and they delivered beyond anyone's expectations. What most people don't realize is that the Bee Gees had been around since the 1960s, making softer pop music and harmony-driven ballads. Their reinvention for the disco era was risky, but it paid off massively. Barry developed his falsetto specifically for this new sound, and brothers Robin and Maurice supported with harmonies and instrumentation. The song's rhythm was so perfect that decades later, medical professionals would teach people to use it as a guide for performing CPR compressions at the correct rate of 100 beats per minute. The track captured the essence of that late 70s moment when disco ruled the clubs and the dance floor was everything. Even people who claimed to hate disco couldn't resist this one. The combination of the pulsing bass, the string section, and those falsetto vocals created something irresistible. It sold over 15 million copies worldwide and became one of the best-selling singles of all time. The Saturday Night Fever soundtrack became a cultural phenomenon, selling over 40 million copies and spending 24 weeks at #1 on the album charts. This song was the crown jewel of that collection. Number 12. Hotel California by Eagles. The Eagles released this mysterious track in 1977, and people have been trying to decode it ever since. Don Henley and Glenn Frey wrote about excess, disillusionment, and the dark side of the American dream. The song won the Grammy for Record of the Year in 1978 and became one of the defining tracks of the entire decade. Don Felder's guitar work created an atmosphere that was both beautiful and unsettling. That dual guitar solo at the end, played with Joe Walsh, became one of rock's most celebrated moments. The two guitarists traded licks back and forth, building intensity until the song faded out. Fans wanted it to keep going forever. The recording process was meticulous, with the band spending months getting every detail right, from the acoustic introduction to the final fade. The lyrics painted a picture of a place you could check into, but never leave, and listeners interpreted it in countless ways. Some thought it was about drug addiction, others about the music industry itself, still others about the state of California or America in general. The band kept the meaning deliberately ambiguous, saying different things in different interviews. Henley later said it was about the loss of innocence and the trappings of fame, but that still left room for interpretation. The song spent 1 week at #1, but its influence lasted far longer. It appeared on the album of the same name, which sold over 26 million copies in the US alone. The track became a staple of classic rock radio and introduced a generation to the idea that a guitar solo could be as important as the vocals. Number 11. You're So Vain by Carly Simon. Carly Simon's 1972 hit became famous for one reason beyond the music. Everyone wanted to know who she was singing about. The speculation continues to this day. Mick Jagger sang uncredited backup vocals, adding another layer of intrigue to the whole thing. The song reached #1 and stayed there for 3 weeks. Simon's performance dripped with confidence and just the right amount of contempt. The production was sleek, with that distinctive opening guitar lick and the subtle strings that built throughout. Warren Beatty, James Taylor, Chris Christopherson, and others were all rumored to be the subject. Simon revealed parts of the truth over the years, but never completely. The mystery became part of the song's appeal. It was a perfectly crafted pop song that also happened to be a masterclass in keeping people guessing. Number 10. Le Freak by Chic. Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards created this disco anthem in 1978 after being turned away from Studio 54. Their frustration turned into inspiration, and they channeled it into a track that became Atlantic Records' best-selling single at the time. The song topped the charts for 6 weeks. The bass line and guitar work were impossibly tight, creating a groove that was both simple and sophisticated. Chic brought a musicianship to disco that elevated the entire genre. The song sold over 6 million copies and showed that disco could be both commercially successful and musically accomplished. The track became a staple at every dance party, wedding, and skating rink. Even people who weren't disco fans found themselves moving to this one. It represented disco at its peak, just before the backlash would begin. For a moment in 1978, this was the sound of pure joy on the dance floor. Number 9. Dream On by Aerosmith. Aerosmith released this track in 1973, but it didn't become a major hit until 1976 when it was re-released. Steven Tyler wrote it when he was just a teenager, and the emotional depth surprised people. The song showcased Tyler's incredible vocal range, especially in those final moments. The piano intro, played by Tyler himself, set a mood that was both haunting and hopeful. Joe Perry's guitar work built gradually, supporting the vocals without overwhelming them. The production gave the song room to breathe, letting each element shine. The track became Aerosmith's signature ballad and proved they could do more than just hard rock. It reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 during its second run. For many kids in the 70s, this was the song that introduced them to power ballads and showed that rock could be tender without losing its edge. Number 8. I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. Gloria Gaynor's 1978 anthem of resilience almost didn't happen. It was originally a B-side to a song called Substitute, but DJS started playing it, and the response was overwhelming. People called radio stations demanding to hear it again. The song became one of the most empowering disco tracks ever recorded, reaching number 1 in early 1979 and staying there for 3 weeks. The song's message of strength after heartbreak resonated far beyond the disco crowd. It became an anthem for anyone who'd been through something difficult and come out the other side. Gaynor's vocal performance was fierce and vulnerable at the same time, starting quiet and uncertain before building to that confident declaration. You could hear the journey from pain to power in her voice. The production built perfectly, starting quiet and growing into that massive, confident chorus. Each verse added more instruments, more energy, until it reached that full disco arrangement with strings and horns. The song won the only Grammy ever awarded for Best Disco Recording in 1980, right as disco was beginning to face a commercial backlash. It transcended its era and continues to be used in movies, TV shows, and real-life moments when people need a reminder of their own strength. Gaynor had suffered a serious back injury that required surgery in 1978, and she wondered if her career was over. When she recorded this song, she channeled those feelings of uncertainty and the determination to overcome them. The personal connection made the performance even more powerful. Number 7. Superstition by Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder recorded this funk masterpiece in 1972, and that clavinet riff became one of the most distinctive sounds in popular music. The song topped the Billboard Hot 100 and won 3 Grammy Awards. Wonder played nearly every instrument on the track himself, showcasing his incredible musicianship. He was just 22 years old when he recorded it. The song grooved harder than almost anything else on the radio at the time. Wonder's vocals were playful and serious, warning against superstitious thinking while creating a track that felt almost magical. The drum sound, the horn section, the whole production was just tight. Every element locked together perfectly. The clavinet was run through a wah-wah pedal, creating that funky, percussive sound that drove the entire track. Jeff Beck was originally supposed to record the song, but Wonder kept it for himself, and music history was made. Beck ended up playing it in his live shows anyway, because it was just too good to pass up. The track showcased Wonder's genius as a multi-instrumentalist and producer. It proved that funk could be both commercially successful and musically complex, bridging the gap between underground grooves and mainstream radio. Wonder recorded the song at Electric Lady Studios in New York, the studio Jimi Hendrix had built. The track appeared on his album Talking Book, which also featured You Are the Sunshine of My Life. That 1-2 punch helped establish Wonder as one of the most important artists of the decade. Number 6. Maggie May by Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart's 1971 breakthrough hit told the story of a young man's relationship with an older woman. The song reached number 1 in both the US and UK, launching Stewart into superstardom. What's remarkable is that it was almost left off the album entirely. The mandolin intro, played by Ray Jackson of Lindisfarne, gave the song an unexpected texture. Stewart's raspy vocals conveyed both affection and frustration. The storytelling felt authentic, like something that had really happened, which it had. Stewart drew from his own experiences as a young man in London. The track spent 5 weeks at number 1 in the US and became Stewart's signature song. It captured a specific moment and feeling that resonated with people across different ages and backgrounds. The guitar work throughout gave it an edge that separated it from typical love songs. Number 5. Dancing Queen by ABBA. When ABBA released this in 1976, they created what many consider the perfect pop song. The track was inspired by the energy of dance halls and the joy of being young on a Saturday night. It hit number 1 in over a dozen countries and became ABBA's only US number 1, though it took 4 months to climb the charts after its December 1976 debut, finally reaching the top in April 1977. The production was incredibly layered, with harmonies that sounded effortless but required meticulous work. Agnetha Feltskog and Anni-Frid Lyngstad's voices blended perfectly, creating a warm, joyful sound. Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus crafted a song that was euphoric without being simple. The arrangement included real strings, piano, and a rhythm section that was both disco and something more sophisticated. The track celebrated being young and alive and having a moment on the dance floor. It didn't try to be profound, but somehow it touched something universal. The opening piano chords and drum fill are instantly recognizable even now. People who were teenagers when it came out still light up when they hear those opening notes. The recording took place at Glenn's studio in Stockholm, and the band spent hours getting the vocals exactly right. It's been covered countless times, used in movies and musicals, including the mega hit Mamma Mia, but the original remains untouchable. The song represented ABBA at their creative peak, combining their Swedish pop sensibilities with the American disco sound to create something that belonged to everyone. Number 4. Take It Easy by Eagles. The Eagles' 1972 debut single, co-written with Jackson Browne, established their laid-back California sound. The song reached number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and introduced the world to Glenn Frey's easygoing vocals. Bernie Leadon's banjo gave it a country rock feel that was fresh at the time.
Don't even try to understand, just find a place.
The song balanced the complexities of modern life with an attitude of not letting it all get to you. That advice felt particularly relevant as the idealism of the 60s was fading. The harmonies were pristine, and the guitar work was understated but effective. The track became a road trip staple and helped define the Southern California sound that would dominate much of the 70s. It wasn't trying to be revolutionary, just honest and well-crafted. The corner in Winslow, Arizona mentioned in the song later became a tourist attraction, complete with a statue of a guy standing on the corner. Number 3. Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac's 1977 hit came from the Rumours album, recorded during the messy breakup of Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Buckingham wrote it about their relationship ending, and Nicks had to sing backup on a song about their split. The tension fueled the performance. The song reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became one of the band's most enduring tracks. Buckingham's guitar work was aggressive and emotional, matching the lyrical content. Mick Fleetwood's distinctive drumming drove the whole thing forward. The track captured the bittersweetness of a relationship ending while life goes on. It wasn't wallowing, it was acknowledging reality and moving forward. The Rumours album sold over 40 million copies, and this song was a major reason why. Sometimes personal pain creates the most universal art. Number 2. More Than a Feeling by Boston. Boston's 1976 debut single introduced the world to Tom Scholz's meticulously crafted guitar sound. He'd built his own recording equipment in his basement and spent years perfecting every detail before the band ever got a record deal. The song reached number 5 and launched one of the biggest-selling debut albums in history. Scholz, who had a master's degree from MIT, approached music with an engineer's precision. The production was pristine, with layer upon layer of guitars creating a wall of sound that was both powerful and crystal clear. Brad Delp's vocals soared over the top, hitting notes that seemed impossible. His voice had a purity that contrasted beautifully with the heavy guitars. The song built gradually, taking its time to reach that explosive chorus. And when it got there, it was worth the wait. The track became an anthem for anyone who'd experienced nostalgia for a lost love or a better time. It sounded like nothing else on the radio in 1976. While other bands were going for raw energy, Boston offered perfection. Scholz's perfectionism paid off massively. The debut album Boston sold over 17 million copies in the US alone, and this song was the gateway that brought people in. The guitar tone Scholz created became legendary. He developed his own effects and recording techniques, and countless guitarists tried to replicate that sound. The song's structure was unusual too, with an acoustic intro that fooled you into thinking it might be a ballad before the electric guitars kicked in. Number 1. Blinded by the Light by Manfred Mann's Earth Band. This 1976 cover of a Bruce Springsteen song completely transformed the original. Manfred Mann's Earth Band took a track from Springsteen's 1973 debut album and turned it into a number 1 hit in 1977. The arrangement was completely different, with synthesizers and a driving rhythm that bore little resemblance to the original. The song's famous misheard lyrics became a running joke for decades. People swore they heard all sorts of things that weren't actually there, but the confusion didn't hurt the song's popularity at all. It spent a week at number 1 and introduced many people to Springsteen's songwriting, even though his version sounded nothing like this. The production was ambitious, with multiple sections that shifted tempo and feel. It was progressive rock meets pop, and somehow it worked. Springsteen himself said he preferred Mann's version. For kids in the late 70s, this was one of those songs that came on the radio, and you turned it up, even if you couldn't quite understand what was being sung. The 1970s gave us a soundtrack that refused to fade away. Some of these songs became cultural touchstones that everyone knows, while others might have slipped your mind until just now. But that's what made that decade so special. The variety, the risk-taking, the sheer creativity that flowed through everything. Whether you wore out the vinyl, the 8-track, or the cassette, these songs are still there in your memory, waiting for the right moment to surface again. If this brought back some memories, hit that like button and subscribe for more trips down memory lane. What 70s song can you still sing word for word? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and keep the music alive.